All right, we are back. I apologize for that. Just an issue on my end. Not even sure what. I just unplugged my headphones, called them back, and restarted the show or restarted a Spreaker, and I had them. I thought it was my headphones, but got it fixed, and then or I got it where it was working without my headphones, and then I plugged my headphones in, try them again, and it's working. So we're up and running and back to it. So apologize to everybody who was listening. Hopefully everybody will jump back in. So we left off. We were getting ready to ask, what's some of your guys' favorite finds?
Well, I got a couple. Well, let's see. Probably one of my favorites is a little box of things that I have. I found 4 years now. I went out detecting with my dad. It was the last time he got to go with me before he passed away.
Oh, that's cool.
We didn't find anything really of value. I found a skeleton key, an old lock, an old lighter, just a few things. But we got to spend a day together, and he was in bad shape at that time, and less than a month later he was gone. So
wow.
That counts as my favorite finds of all time.
That's really cool. That's a neat story. What about you, Mike? Or tell me about some of your other finds, Craig, real quick.
Oh,
yeah.
Probably one of our best right now has been we found a button. My wife and I did together, not a button, rather a pin. It's called an eagle cockade. We found it in a little ghost town over here we've hunted with our team with before. And come to find out, it was off of a hat from the War of 1812.
Oh, that is cool.
Wow.
That is I love 1812, the War of 1812. Very interesting.
And the funny thing is, a lot of people don't realize that the actual War of 1812 started here in Indiana.
Oh, I didn't know that. Tell me about that.
Well, the beginning of the War of 1812 was a battle against the Native Americans.
Mm-hmm.
The Native Americans were angry about the land seizures and things like that, and they were going to side with the British if the British invaded. So they sent troops here through Indiana to destroy the camps of all the Native Americans so they could not join the British.
I didn't know that. Was it at certain forts?
There was a couple of forts, and the battle of the Mississinawa was the biggest one. Matter of fact, there was a large camp not more than 15, 20 miles from where I live.
Oh, wow.
And a buddy of mine and Mike's, Brant Jones, he found a hat pin, the front hat pin off of a War of 1812 hat. And it's one of the only known dug examples of that hat pin.
Oh, wow. How cool is that? The War of 1812 is really interesting to me. And along with the Ohio Indian Wars of the 1790s, and Indiana played a big part in that as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's really neat. We had, his name just skipped my mind, Greg Shipley on the show.
Yes.
Maybe a year and a half or so ago. And something he told us that I didn't know was, I'm sorry, I looked up and seen something in the chat that caught my eye. Something that I wasn't aware of is the whole U.S. Military was in Ohio, in Ohio, and I'm sure Indiana as well, during that time.
Yes.
And that is fascinating. Think about that. We were such a small country, then, and during the War of 1812, again, we were just a small, nothing. The whole military was in Ohio, that the Ohio Valley is crazy to me. But
yeah, exactly.
I'm curious. Bill said that info is not in the Frontiersman. I'm curious what you're talking about exactly, Bill. Are you talking about how the War of 1812 got started, or what? I'm just piqued my interest. But what about you, Mike? What's been some of your favorites?
Well,
what Craig forgot to mention was one of his finds, come to find out, was found on my cousin's property.
Really? I hate when that happens. Did it turn into a fist fight or a shovel fight or anything? Or
No, he was like, we were talking one day, and I said, he's like, yeah, I found this, and I was like, oh, really? I was like, yeah. I said, where at? And he told me, and I was like, I got an uncle that lives over that way, and I told him who it was, and he was like, well, that's where I found it.
oh my God, man, that had to hurt your feelings.
No, I'm just glad it was found.
Yeah, right. Glad it was found by somebody you like, for sure.
Oh yeah.
And the best part of it is it's a button that nobody else has.
Oh, that's cool.
It's
Have
a
you
Civil
guys?
War dragon.
Have you guys been back there?
No.
What's the problem? Are you guys waiting on me?
Sure.
Yeah, come on up.
No, why haven't you guys been back? Or is it just not got to it yet? Or
Well, actually, that was a site my wife and I hit together, and that Civil War Dragoons button and 3 other flat buttons was the only thing we pulled from this site. And it was, because the area was so small. But there's probably more out there. Just needs to be stirred up. But it was just, we just were not getting anything other than those things. And when that Dragoons button pulled out, I was ready to walk away from the field and just go home.
Huh. Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
That is crazy. So was that before you two knew each other?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. That is so funny. Huh. How'd that make you feel, Mike? Please go into detail about how you cried.
Well, I was like, really? like never. I never crossed my mind to go talk to my uncle about hunting his property, but of course, Craig's probably lives a little closer to him than I do.
Oh, I gotcha. Well, and there's no sense asking him if he already went there and found everything. Well, something I wanted to ask you guys we passed over. I forgot. What kind of detectors have you used over the years and stuff?
Oh, okay. I started off with a Bounty Hunter Pioneer 101.
Okay.
Which we actually still own, and we actually loved it. My wife loved it because it was very light.
Yeah.
And but then we started with the Garrett Ace 400.
Okay.
When the new Ace series first came out, and we used that for quite a while, and then we bought the Garrett AT Max.
Oh, okay.
And,
well, Gypsy could hunt with you then. She only hunts with people that run Garrett's. That's it. Yeah.
Well, yeah, we used the Max, but then last year at our metal detecting club's seated hunt, I won a Fisher F75.
Oh, cool. How you like it?
Oh.
Well, I have not figured out how to use the daggum thing yet. It's just
little challenging.
Yeah, it is a little bit more. It's not as out of the box as the Garrett is. Nothing against the Fisher by any stretch, but it is more to set up, and we just haven't taken the time to get out there and really learn the ins and outs of it.
I gotcha. They're not too bad. It's been a while since I've used one. I don't know. I'd have to have one in my hands to figure out what I could tell you about it, but I'd say keep going at it. It's a good detector. Yeah, yes. Mark just said it's a good detector. Yeah, I've never been a fan of the F75 or the T2. I know they're great detectors. Don't get me wrong. I just, I think we all, if you've used a lot of detectors and been in the hobby a long time, you find that there's just certain detectors that aren't for you. I like Technetics and Fisher overall. I just was never a big fan of those two. I've had the F22. The F22 is a great little detector. $230. It's probably in that price range. I would say, in my opinion, one of the better detectors, if not the best right now. So it's not that I'm not a fan of them. And I know people have been so successful with the F-75 and the T2. It's just doesn't like me or something. It just doesn't like me. But yeah, I'd say keep going at it. What about you, Mike?
Well, like I said, I started off Radio Shack. I can't even remember what model it was. GS 30. I don't know what it was. And then Fisher's F2, an AT Pro, and now I have an Amphibio.
Oh, good. Are you liking that Amphibio?
Oh, I'm still learning it quite a bit, but I love it actually.
Do you still have your AT Pro?
Yeah, actually, I gave it to my 10-year-old.
You'll have to borrow it if Gypsy comes and visits you, because she made it real clear to me she wasn't hunting with me unless I dragged out Garrett. She said, no, I'm totally kidding.
Well, we can put a wrap on it.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Yeah, Scott Treckler, good point. He said Radio Shack must have made millions off of their detectors. And, boy, I agree. Everybody, I think those, especially those, those of us getting into it 20 years ago, really before we all started getting into the internet, most of us started off with Radio Shack or Bounty Hunters. You could go into Walmart and find a bounty hunter. I didn't hear of Whites way back then, or some of the other ones. And, our local, metal detecting was really a pretty small niche back then. You didn't have magazines and stuff, really. I mean, not in our local grocery and stuff. So I started off with a bounty hunter, and, I felt like that detector should have been called like the frustrator or something. 'Cause my goodness, I mean, it was horrible, just horrible that first those. But I know a lot of people did good with them though too, and really got them into the hobby. But yeah, you guys, if Gypsy ever comes up and visits you, talk Garrett proud and use them Garretts. She's tough on you.
That's true.
She comes across as really sweet and nice. But something I learned moving to Texas is you gotta be real careful of them Texas women, because she's a sweetheart, but you just wouldn't want to make her mad, She'd be like a spider
I don't
monkey
know where
taking her shovel to your head and stuff.
Where he's getting all this.
I've heard rumors. That's all I'm saying.
I've
heard rumors.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I'm kidding. I am totally kidding.
Yesterday, Chris, he's from, he has a YouTube channel, is visiting Chris Davis. He has Copperhead metal detecting on YouTube. And him and I, we had gotten a permission last week. He had went and knocked doors because I hate knocking doors. So anyway, I drove around and I provided, the driving and looking for the houses and all that. Anyway, we went and knocked doors all day yesterday, and we finally got a yes. And then the lady called somebody else to the door, and they said, no, I don't think so. So we ended up at a park. We just ended up with Clad, but there were some beautiful old houses with huge yards. We must have knocked about 10 or 12 different houses. It was sad.
Oh. Huh.
But a lot of people weren't answering the door.
Yeah.
Because of the holiday.
Huh. That's no good. Oh, well. Did you have fun?
No. I had fun, but it was just kind of disappointing when you knock that many doors and no luck. But it happens.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, I got us off subject.
No, just listen. I don't want you mad at me. I'm not going to say anything about you talking. You just go right ahead.
Well, you know what Gypsy touched on there is something that I've been talking to other people about. Is I think that in this world that we live in these days, phone calls or social media contacts are probably better than door knocking anymore, at least in our experience.
I think they are. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
The problem with that
that's
is
how I get most of my permissions, but I don't like to door knock. I feel like I'm invading their personal, personal little space or bubble, but Chris is not scared at all. He walks up to the front door. If he doesn't get an answer, he's looking on the side door to see if there's anybody. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'll just duck a little further down in the chair here. Oh, but anyway, I hate knocking doors.
Yeah. But a lot of people don't like to answer the door to a stranger anymore. And,
yeah, I don't.
I don't. Yeah. My wife's the same way. If I'm at work, she won't answer the door.
Yeah, and that's tougher when you're 6'3" and 325 versus versus Gypsy that's all sweet and nice and stuff. Hey, Gypsy. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was just saying, that's what Chris said. He said, now, if you were knocking instead of me, he said, we would probably get all yeses. But he said, with him, he's got a little bit of a beard. Not as big as your beard, but Mike. But
yeah, my beard is magical. It's magic. Mm-hmm.
You just need to paint it purple again.
I have such a good idea. Your next shirt design on the pocket on the front, you need to put a spider monkey holding a shovel. Yep, I'm telling you. How awesome would that be? Mm-hmm. And then when somebody you door knock and somebody looks at your shirt, and then they're like, "What's that?" And it's be like, when people don't give me permission, I go at them with a shovel. Can I hunt here or what? Then you just tell them I'm going to metal detect your yard. That's it. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think what it is I've been sick and me and Randy haven't been sleeping, so I'm kind of slap happy tonight, getting off the subject and razzing poor Gypsy. She'll probably get in her car after this and come up and really take a shovel to me. And the worst part is Steph thinks the world of her. Steph would push me out of the door. Here he is. Take that shovel to him. Gypsy'd get done and Steph hit him again. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh gosh, that's funny.
What was you going to say, Gypsy?
I've got another question for Mike and Craig. I'm just curious, what gave you all the idea for the magazine?
Oh.
How did that come about?
That's kind of a loaded question.
Uh-oh.
Well, it actually wasn't really an idea. I was at home one night, and I've dabbled in writing most of my life, and I was just messing around with my desktop publishing software. I was just fooling around with something, and I took our buddy Brant, and I put him on a magazine cover, and I named it Dirt Digest Magazine. And I just was, because Brant is one of those guys that you really hate to metal detect with, because one day he's going to trip over Jimmy Hoffa's body. He just, it doesn't matter. He finds everything, but I put him on the cover, and I was just fooling around. I snapped it, and I took it. I sent it over to Mike. I said, "Hey man, check this out." I actually was joking, and he came back at me and said, "Man, that's a great idea. Let's run with this." And next thing I know, he's firing off plans, this and that, and I'm like, "Okay, let's do this then."
That's awesome.
That's so funny. I love it. So you're just playing around and happen to make a little cover and then send it to Mike, and then he's like, "Hey."
Well, that's what I tell people. Mike's one of those kind of friends that if you call and say, "Hey man, something bad happened," he said, "I'll get the shovel. Where do you need to hide the body at?" So it's just one of those things.
That's awesome.
Oh my!
You guys are talking.
Love that.
we've all hunted with somebody that just kicks our butt. I mean, whether it's like just one day or it's somebody like every time you hunt with. We need to do an episode, Gypsy, where it's like how to, ways to tamper with them to slow them down a bit. Putting BBs under their coil cover and turning their sensitivity down when they're not paying attention. And we'll have to do a show about that sometime.
Turn the machine off when they're not watching.
Carry a pair of scissors and cut their headphone cord. And
oh man.
Yeah, Brant.
Go ahead, Mike.
Brant, I sent him a picture because I found a general service button today, and I sent Brent the picture, and he's like, "Oh, cool, sweet, fine." And I'm like, "Yeah, but the 1812 seated half dime Indian head coin has eluded me again." But I had to make something like that up because he'll find it.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my gosh.
and the sad thing about Brant is, I mean, we love him to death. He is like a brother to us. But he breaks every rule in metal detecting. I mean, every one of them. When he hunts, his coil is tilted up. He swings probably, I would say, almost probably 8-9 inches off the soil.
Oh my goodness!
Oh my gosh!
And he swings.
How does he find anything?
And he swings so fast. I mean, literally. I mean, he'll start swinging and he'll be gone. And the rest of us are back here just trying to squeak out a find. He's already dug a pouch full of coins.
What detector is he using?
Right.
He is a fisherman.
He's a fisherman.
Yes, he uses the Fisher S70 most of the time. So.
Wow.
And that poor thing has been beat up to death. He's got that baseball bat tape for a hand grip because the hand grip came off and he doesn't want to send it in to have a new one put on. The screen's cracked, the whole 9 yards, but by God, every time he goes out. You do want to, I've threatened to hit him in the head with a shovel many times.
Right. That's funny.
I think he's found 3 flying eagles so far this year.
No.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know how many large scents he's found this year.
I think he's up to like a dozen large scents already this year.
Oh my gosh.
Gypsy.
I'm making a trip. As soon as I get back from East Texas, I'm going to come find my one large scent that's eluded me for 20 years.
Oh boy.
So
she wants to hunt with him so bad she'll bring a Garrett up for him to borrow while she's there.
Yeah, we'll find one. No, we're not bringing him along. It's just Craig and Mike.
Oh.
It sounds like he finds it all. He's gonna leave us something to find.
He might not find all. He might be afraid of that spider monkey. Yep. That'd be a nice newspaper article.
Yeah.
Picture of monkey or spider monkey gypsy on his back beating his head with a shovel. Be cool. I could see it. No,
So
you're
Mike.
Yeah.
not co-host Mike. The other Mike. You found an eagle button today. What machine were you using with that when you found that one?
The Amphibio.
Amphibio.
the
Cool.
Noctamacro Amphibio.
Yeah.
Oh, you know?
That's
Okay, you
sweet.
just...
That's a pretty button.
Yeah, thanks. It's,
Oh.
I think I found that, and it was a toasted Indian het penny and a couple suspender straps from Monica Reed. I think that was about it because I only had like a half hour to hunt before the storms come rolling in with light.
Before the storms. Yeah.
But it's I'm still on the same road. Probably I don't know if it's my favorite find, but it's all in one spot. I found a Civil War powder flask top, a shield nickel, 2-cent coin, Indian head penny. The 2-cent coin was 1864. Indian head penny was 1864. The shield was late 1868, I think. What else? 1877 seated dime. A general service button.
Dang.
And that was all in one spot, probably a 20-foot by 40-foot area.
Nice.
Wow.
Hey, you know
Wow.
what? You know what we need to do is I'm sitting here being quiet for a change. We should, and I mean this serious. We ought, when you have time to travel, we need to do a show. Like invite Gypsy to find a large scent since you've never found one. We need to see if we can get you on a large scent. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm sure we can find you somebody that would love to, take you out and stuff. I know I could get some people in Ohio. Now that I brought up the whole spider monkey thing, I don't know if Craig or Mike wants you there. I'm just kidding, guys. She's a sweetheart, I promise. She's just as sweet in person as she is on air, I promise. She won't take a shovel to you. But I'd love to see you find one. I didn't know you'd never found one. I mean, down here, though, they're next to impossible, I would assume.
Mm-hmm.
Much harder.
Craig, how many large scents were found over there on the ghost town?
So far 5 in one spot.
Mm.
Oh my. Oh my.
But that little ghost town permission has produced 5 large cents, 6 2-cent coins, 4 half dimes, 3 trimes.
Huh.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, there's a lot, and we still haven't cleaned it out. So,
what was there? Do you know?
there was a town there for it wasn't there very long. It was what we call a boom town over here. That it was built on the promise of a railroad coming through.
Mm.
And, the railroad moved to another town instead of coming through, so this town started to die. And then in 1922, F4 tornado came through and wiped it off the map.
Oh, wow.
Now it's all farmland. So
Cool.
It's produced some awesome stuff because the church in that town was a rally point for the Civil War.
Oh.
The minister would actually cancel sermons when they get news of the Union doing badly, and then do a call to arms and sign up people to join the Civil War. And so, yeah, it was amazing.
I need to write a story on that.
Oh, yeah.
That sounds like a neat little story right there about that town and what you just said. That would make an interesting story for the mag.
And the very interesting thing was once the tornado whipped through, it destroyed every home, every building, everything, but it left the piano from the church untouched.
How incredible is that?
And it's in our local historical society for people to see. But yeah, not a scratch on it.
Wow. That's incredible. Incredible.
And some of the stuff that, like you said, it's awesome what it produces. One of the guys that hunts with us found a North Carolina militia button from, it was probably, 100 yards from the church?
Yeah.
Wow. That's incredible. What a great sight. There's nothing like finding a ghost town that's just a field now. Those are really amazing places if you can get them. They're hard to come by, but boy, if you can get into places like that and they haven't been hunted to death, that you're on to something.
Absolutely.
You're on to something. That's great, guys.
Is there a lot of...
Go ahead.
I was just going to ask if there was a lot of iron in there.
There is a lot of iron. What's nice about it, there's not a lot of big iron. There's a lot of iron. There's a lot of iron you can hear with your iron audio turned on, but you can discriminate it out very easily.
There's so much iron, Gypsy, that you would want to get a wrap to put over an Amphibio. I'd let you borrow my Amphibio, and you could put a Garrett wrap over top of that. That's how much iron's in there. I'm just kidding. You know I'm kidding. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, man, he's giving me a hard time.
I'm sorry. No, Gypsy's awesome.
No.
I say, these guys have me. Sometimes they
Oh,
always say it's easier to ask for forgiveness than it is permission. Why don't you drive up here tonight, and I'll sneak out in the middle of the night, and we'll drive up to Indiana. I'm sure Steph will forgive me for abandoning her and the kids for a couple of days. She's probably listening right now and hiding my truck keys and taking my card out of my wallet.
How funny. Yeah. Man, that sounds so tempting, but I already had my permission on Thursday, and I don't want to lose that.
No, that's awesome. Where are you going
It's
Thursday?
32. It's 32 acres, and there's definitely 2 old homesteads on there from the 1800s. So it's pretty old. I mean, no, it's not colonial because there's hardly any of that here, but it's 1800s. I mean, that's pretty good for around here.
I just said all that, and Steph posted in the group. She said, yeah. So my debit card's missing, my car keys. I bet I can't find my shoes. So we got to cancel the Indiana trip for now.
Oh.
Yep, got to cancel. So,
Just got a detector.
I'm sorry,
I'll leave
what's
you
it?
with the baby and her stepping
Yeah,
out.
yeah. She'll end up sneaking out and going, and I'll be stuck here with the kids. Yeah.
Steph, I'll text you later.
Yeah, right. Jerks. That's how that'll go. Should have just kept my mouth shut. Now I got the kids the next few days all by myself. I don't like you guys at all right now, I'll be honest with you. So what's the first
You got to dish a little bit back.
Yeah, I deserve every bit of it, Gypsy. You're okay. You give it to me, I'll take it. So what's the first few months of the magazine been like?
Well, to be honest, I'm surprised I haven't developed a severe drinking problem. Actually, it's been great. I mean, it really has. I mean, we had some hiccups here and there and things like that, but I only deal with the publishing side of it, and that's what I'm good at. And we all have our strengths. And Mike, does everything else as far as any deal with any advertisers or just getting the word out there, marketing everything for us. And it has been great. It's been a lot of fun. We've had a lot of good times. We've met a lot of neat people over it. So it's been an adventure for sure.
That's great.
Cool.
Absolutely. Bill.
Yeah, he's definitely on the technical side, and he's texting me, and then I'm texting him or calling him going, hey, you done with this yet? You got it posted yet?
Oh, yes.
Now, he was
I've gotten
if we were still operating in DOS, I could help him out, but
whoa.
Relics
Ancient.
Radio. I seen you respond to Gypsy. I think that's Loy. I believe that's Loy on there. He said it took him 38 years to find a large scent.
I saw that.
They didn't have them in the South like they did in the Midwest and stuff. I mean, I just want to point out, he says it took him 38 years, and although he only has 3 now, where like in Ohio you can just find them like crazy, he's got some killer stuff though. You know what I mean? Like, he might not have
Civil War stuff.
Yeah, he might not have the large scents, but that guy's got a heck of a collection. Absolutely.
Sure does.
What's it been like for you, Mike?
I enjoy it actually because I'm the talker.
You're right.
I enjoy talking to people. I'll end up finding new people to talk to, or about the magazine, or even just metal detecting. I like that side of it. So
Yeah.
It's definitely opened up a lot of avenues for us.
That's great. That is great. Yeah. Now, do you regret ever reaching out to me?
Oh no,
Not yet. Not yet.
not yet.
Oh,
It'll happen, Mike. It'll happen.
and we definitely don't regret reaching out to Gypsy. When we originally reached out to her, we'd never. Well, honestly, she has been one of the most humble people that we've dealt
Yeah.
with, and just willing to jump right on board. Here's these two creepy guys are just texting her on Twitter, and then Mike's calling her on the phone, and God knows what she thinks of that, because I've talked to Mike on the phone. So it's
Right. Yeah, I'm with you there. Yeah.
But we actually, I mean, what it was so nice. I mean, I'd been a fan of Gypsy's channel, and I had saw it came up where she had became a member of the Garrett Field team and things like that, and I really wanted to reach out to her and get with her. And like you said, we're talking about reaching out to other YouTubers and stuff like that. I put Mike on another YouTuber. We won't mention their name, but this person's first question was, well, how many viewers do you have? What's it going to do for me? And things like that. And when that person said that, it immediately turned me and Mike both off of the whole situation. It wasn't about spreading the word about the hobby. It was about, look at me, I'm so awesome. And that's what we didn't get with Gypsy.
Yeah, no, I joke about Gypsy, and she knows I'm joking. She is one of the most humble, down to earth. I mean, it's just, one of the things I find in this hobby is so many are looking to make money at it and become something. And, I really struggle with that. And she just is so passionate about the hobby. I've said this before, and I mean it so much. Like, I'm not joking. I'm not making a joke. I've literally talked to Gypsy, and I can tell she's down, and things aren't good. And it always comes out. She's like, I got to get out. I haven't been out in 3 days, Mike. It's been pouring down here. She's been busy. I mean, she's one of those people. Like, you better get her out metal detecting, because she gets almost grumpy about it. Not in a mean, not towards me. You can tell it brings her down when she hasn't been out in a couple of days, and I love that. That her passion.
It's like yesterday we were out knocking these doors, driving around. Oh, look at there's an old house. Oh, look at that. Let's go knock that door. And finally we were just like, I just don't think we're going to get permission. So I'm like, I gotta go dig. I don't care what we're digging. I gotta dig. Of course we were digging clad, but oh my gosh, finally we ended up at this little park across from an old school, and in the 90-degree something heat. So we were trying to hit the shady areas, but yeah,
You just what? I just lost her again, didn't I? Oh, I got Mike. That's good. Okay.
Okay.
Got you guys. We just lost Gypsy, I think. Let me see what's going on. Gypsy, are you still with us?
Yeah.
She's having problems on her end now. I can hear it. Sounds like your speaker went out or something.
Yeah, maybe my headphones. Let me see.
Oh, there you are. You sound good.
You're back. Yeah.
Yeah, you're back. We're good.
Yeah, my headphones went dead. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Well, good. We at least have you back now. I'm sorry, Gypsy. Go ahead.
I forget what I was saying, but I was just saying something about yeah, I go through with withdrawals if I'm not out detecting. After a couple days, I can't. I can't go long without getting out and digging.
Yeah, she's like a drug addict needing her fix. Really, I mean, she gets. I can hear a tone. I can hear your tone. I can tell like you're down when you haven't been out, and every time that it's like, man, Gypsy sounds funny today. You know, like something's wrong. Like at some point you'll say, I got to get out. I haven't 3 days, Mike. It's been raining 3 solid days, and then you vent to me how you haven't been out. So it always cracks me up. I get a kick out of it.
Yeah.
And me and Gypsy, we've spent hours and hours talking metal detecting and detectors and places to hunt. I mean, you could keep her on the phone. I think if I called to talk about the show, I'm good for like 10 or 15 minutes. But if I call and talk about metal detecting, you could talk to her for hours. I mean, she'll just go and go and go. But if I just call to chat, she's like, not really interested, Mike. Talk to you later. Call me back when you got metal detecting stuff you want to talk about. She's a hoot. She's a hoot.
Oh, yeah, today we were out eating pizza and we were sitting outside and there's these dogs. We were petting these dogs that these people were, and of course, I'm just sitting there chit-chatting and I'll just start. I mean, these are complete strangers, and all of a sudden I'm like, yeah, are y'all from here? And then I'm like, next thing you know, I'm starting talking about metal detecting because the guy's talking about because, it's Memorial Day. And so the guy starts talking about his father was in, the war, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I love history, and the next thing I know, I start talking about metal detecting. I ended up giving the guy one of my cards just because. Anyway,
yeah. If somebody wanted to kidnap Gypsy, I'll tell you the way to do it is get you a shady old van and write on the side free metal detecting gear, and she will climb right up in that van. I guarantee it. Even after I've said it on the show, she would still do it.
It wouldn't be a metal detector. It would be like permission. It would be hey, let me show you where I've got. There's a 1700s old property over here. Come hunt. Mm-hmm. That's the way to get me.
Yeah, right. Right on the side of your van, driving to a 1700s historical site, you can metal detect, and she's gone. She'll get right in that van. I mean, you could even have ridiculous demands like you can't bring a phone, you can't nothing. Okay, let me grab my metal detecting equipment.
Yeah, as long as I got my detector with me, I'm fine.
And if you and Steph went together, if you put / free tacos, Steph would jump in too. So free tacos and metal detecting, and they're gone.
I think you're going to pay for that one, Mike.
You probably. I pay for stuff all the time.
She'll be in the doghouse tonight.
Yeah, I pretty much stay in the doghouse. It's okay. She still loves me. She still loves me. Mm-hmm. So one of the things. Oh, go ahead, Gypsy. Sorry.
No. I was just wondering how often our guests tonight get out and hunt. I know they both said they were mechanics by trade. So is it like
mechanic and Craig's a machinist.
Oh, machinist and mechanic. Okay, there you
go. I don't get out as much as I'd like. Unfortunately, I work second shift as a machinist. So if I do get out, I like to try and get out once or twice a week. Mike and I are members of the team I founded, the Indiana Dirt Detectives. So when there's decent weather, we try, which hasn't been for a while, we try and plan one team hunt a week. Usually on a Saturday. And every once in a while, I'll get out before work. But as I've gotten older, I've figured out that getting up early and going out metal detecting, coming back, and then going into work usually doesn't work for me. Because unfortunately, I'm going to be worthless at work all night. And they like me to do something to get paid. I don't know why. But yeah, I try and get out as much as I possibly can.
Yeah, that's great. What about you, Mike?
I went today and I went Saturday. Actually, I don't door knock, but I guess there's no difference in me running across the field chasing down a tractor. But that's usually how I get my permissions is chasing down tractors out in the middle of a field talking to the farmers.
Right. Great way to do it.
But like I said, I went Saturday and I went today. I don't know, probably 2 times a week. I'll try to get out for at least an hour each day. But it's with the rain, we're having a bad rains this year. So fortunately for us, we're able to extend our season a little bit longer because of the rain. Farmers around here hasn't been able to put any seed in the ground. With that, it's extended because usually by now we're not out in the fields until September. But
Yeah.
Been a little rough year, hasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
But you guys might be field hunting in the middle of summer too.
Yes.
Right. That'd be nice.
Yeah.
That'd be nice. What about the magazine? I mean, is there anything you want people to know about the magazine or anything? I mean, there's one thing that I wanted to get out, but go ahead. If you don't cover it.
Okay. Well, there's one of the things that I think I want people to understand about the magazine, at least from my end, is we're not writing for the advertisers. We're writing for the readers, and we're not going to put anything out there that I wouldn't want to see in a magazine myself. Where you kind of get tired of the same old thing, where it's this guy is going out and he's found something amazing and so on and so forth. But at the same time, you really want to educate people and help them out. And we've had a lot of good feedback on different things that people would like to see. Hey, how do you dig a proper plug, or how do I go about getting a permission, or old maps or things of that nature. And I think we're going to be putting a lot more of that in as we go along, because it's more than just looking at a great coin or a button or a gun that somebody found. Because not everybody's finding that stuff, and they want to get to that point, and they need to learn how.
That is brilliant.
We're trying to help everybody we can get there, and we want them to, like I said, see it. And we are adding some, we do have some famous people on the cover. I mean, Gypsy was on the cover for this month, and, but at the same time, they all started off at the same place we did. Gypsy's on the Garrett Field team, but but she still has to get out there and dig the good stuff. But every time she goes out, it may not be the good stuff.
Right. Absolutely.
So
I guarantee you just made her blush. Famous. They think you're famous, Gypsy. That's funny. I mean, I don't mean that. I'm sorry. I don't mean that bad. Like, you're so well known and the metal detecting. I wasn't making fun of you. I don't mean that. Yeah, I know Gypsy wouldn't think of herself as famous, is what I'm getting at. Like, she's so down to earth. She's like, what? Did they just say I'm famous? That's funny.
Another thing that we try to bring out too is the different type of hunting, different artifacts, relics, whatever. I mean, for instance, this month's issue, we had Arctic Diggers do Daniel Camacho. He found those cans. I had no idea that people up there metal detected for cans and stored them. I mean, cans here in the part of the country we're at, the soil's really acidic, so a can wouldn't last very long. But I mean, different parts of the country have different things. Whether you're over in Virginia or Carolina or Georgia, Tennessee, Kentucky, you're finding Civil War relics left and right. to all the way out to, like I said, in Alaska, where they metal detect gold mining camps, abandoned ones. Just different aspects from around the country. It's a little bit more history and a little bit opening up eyes to people to there's more than just in your area.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree 100%. I think that's a good route to go and educate people and help people along. I think we need more of that, and that's something I do enjoy doing. I did an article on how I overlay, which is kind of unique from the way everybody else does it, or people that I know other than people I've taught, and there's reasons why I do it the way I do it. Some very valid reasons, of course. Now with Maprika and stuff, a lot of people have gone to that. I still do it old school or my own way, and but any way to educate people, and I think getting people that have been there and done that and been successful and talking to them and interviewing them and finding out their techniques and stuff is a great route great route to go. I'm sorry guys, my voice is just getting worse and worse. One of the things I wanted to say about the about the magazine that I've seen a little bit of confusion from a few people I've talked to is they feel like they don't understand that you can read it right online. If you scroll to the bottom of the magazine, a little window will pop up and you can flip through it right online. You don't have to download it. Of course, if you do download it, then you could be reading the magazine in your car without internet while your wife's driving or something, and you could really look at it anytime. So, I mean, yeah, of course you can download it, and that's a great way to read it, but you can read it right online. Just scroll to the bottom just go to the bottom of the magazine and run your mouse over it, and you'll a little window pop up, a little rectangle along the bottom, and you can flip through. So, yeah, absolutely. So.
And you can also print that PDF if you decide to download it, which we have had quite a few people do. They like to have a paper copy in their hands, so they just print it off of their home computer.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, somebody like me that's the only time I get away is the only time I get able to sit and read is in the bathroom, and I'm trying to drown out kids and screaming and beating on the door and little hands reaching under the door. Mm-hmm. It's fun. It's a lot of fun sometimes. So, but yeah, I find time usually when everybody goes to bed. I'll stay up a little bit, and sometimes I'll do things like read a magazine or something like that, or whatever I want to look at before I go to sleep. You got to find that time to get a little bit of break. But boy,
something I love about the magazine, and like you mentioned earlier, for people that are just starting out in the hobby, that may not go watch, the YouTube channels or you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
For me, way before when I very first got started in metal detecting, and I found out about a metal detecting magazine, I used to go to the bookstore just every month to go buy that magazine because I loved reading the stories. I was, hungry for anything, about metal detecting. I was hungry for, what the latest machines were that were out on the market or just how does a metal detector work? How does, how to dig a plug, those things that you want to know in the beginning. So I think it's a wonderful thing what you are doing, and you never know who you're going to influence with your magazine. So I'm really impressed. I think you are doing a great thing.
Well, thank you. Yeah, that's what we want to try and do. It's more about educating everybody on the hobby and help the hobby lose some of the stigmata that it has. There is some people that believe that that we're actually taking when we shouldn't be. But I disagree.
Right.
So, this is stuff that should be brought out to the public and things like that. And we have even donated things to our local historical society, and to we have a museum here in town called the Museum of the Soldier. We were on a bottle dig, and we ended up finding a World War II dog tag.
Oh, cool.
Oh, wow.
And we took it to this museum to donate, and the gentleman who runs the museum is a former soldier who has a lot of contacts, and he was able to get all the information on the gentleman that the dog tag belonged to. He had no family left or anything else like that, because we couldn't find anybody, so everything went into that museum.
Oh, that's so cool. That's so cool.
Yeah, I think there needs to be more stories like that too. Things that are donated to the museums, and then how we can work with the historical societies and to help preserve history. I think that would be some great upcoming articles for y'all too. To maybe even show some of those photos of those finds and that story about, just the tags and the information that, y'all were able to get. That would make a great story as well in itself.
Absolutely.
That's awesome, guys. I'm looking forward to more issues. Somebody asked, geesh, I don't remember who it was now, how many issues have been out, and you guys are getting ready on July 1st. You'll be releasing your third magazine, or the third issue, and then yeah, there it is. I don't know why I've been struggling with that so much, Gibson. And also working on having a place to read the past issues, which I think is a really good idea, so people can come back and find them and read them. And next issue June 1st, correct?
That's correct. Yes, and to help everybody out while we've been talking, I went ahead and got the archive page up and rolling. So,
nice.
Anybody can go over there and download the archives. So
that's great. That's great. And then, how's it been going so far? Like, I asked that, but I guess I'm asking. I'll be a little more specific. What's the response been?
Well, overall, I think the response has been amazing. But I'm not the numbers guy. I prefer to be like the Wizard of Oz. I stay behind the curtain and just stay at my computer, and then let Mike deal with the numbers and so on and so forth. So I'll let him handle this one.
I tell you, we started off, and when we started this, I think April 1st was our first issue. March 9th, we didn't even have a website up. We built that website. Actually, Craig built the website over the weekend. And when we released that website on March the 11th, until now, we've had a little over 100. Well, I say a little. We're well into over 100,000 hits on the website.
Wow, that's incredible.
Wow.
And go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, and to let everybody know, it's free to the reader. I mean, there's no cost to the magazine. It's free. You just go out to the website, and they're there, and you can read them. That's awesome too.
And our first month, when we released it, we were just there. The word wasn't out. We tried to get out there, tell a few Facebook groups that we worked with and were close to with friendships. They shared a couple of them. Our first issue, we had quite a bit of reads on it, but and website hits. But this month, it seems like the word is gotten out big time. the reads on it is just overwhelming. I mean, we're
Wow.
we're well into what I want to say 6 digits. Yeah,
Wow.
5 digits.
Wow, that's great. That's great, guys. We wish you the best of luck. Absolutely. What's the future look like for you guys in the magazine?
Well, I think the future is very, very bright. As a matter of fact, one of the things that I'd like to mention is that we're going to be dabbling in some, let's say, off the rails type of treasure hunting. We're not sticking with purely metal detecting. I shared on Gypsy's group, as a matter of fact, something my wife and I do, which is we buy storage units and that have been abandoned and dig through them. And I happened to find a couple of silver rounds in the first one we did. So that's the kind of things we'd like to.
That.
Yeah, we'd like to open things up a little bit more to different types like the gold prospecting and stuff like that.
That's so cool because there's so many different forms of treasure hunting, and it's funny because like I'm on Twitter and all the other social media thingies, and so many people are into their own type of treasure hunting, whether it be magnet fishing, metal detecting, storage unit hunting, or maybe you're out flea marketing, garage selling, all kinds of different types of treasure hunting. But to me, there's so many different facets, and you never know what you might find. And I think that's neat that you are opening up. Is that I really did like the in this issue of the magazine. One of my favorite parts was actually, like you said earlier, about bringing up about those cans, because I do a lot of bottle digging and dump digging, as well as metal detecting, and I've found quite a few cans in the past that I've collected that were in decent enough shape, and bottles, and of course I love finding the airheads. Like today I got to do a little bit of airhead hunting. But I mean, there's just so many different aspects of treasure hunting, and I think that's really neat that you are opening that up to different types of treasure hunting.
Gypsy, I've given you enough of a hard time tonight to last a month, but I just got to say, it cracks me up when you say arrowhead hunting, because you say arrowhead hunting. Sounds like era. There's that Texas girl. You ought to hear that accent when she's beating on you with a shovel.
Well, believe me, I know. I married a Kentucky girl.
Oh,
so.
there you go. Good luck with that.
Yeah. But one other thing, I think I haven't talked this over with Mike, but I think we'll be okay on this. Since you mentioned who your guest will be on Tuesday, our cover and feature story for the next issue will be Daryl Miklos.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, if you guys haven't seen that, if the listeners haven't seen his show, it's on Discovery Channel, and it's called Cooper's Treasure. And Mike turned me on to that, a month or so ago, I believe, Mike. And I loved it. I watched it all through. And a great show. It's. Do you want to give the listeners kind of that haven't seen it kind of overview of what the show's about?
Yeah, it's Gordon Cooper was actually an astronaut, and when he was circling Earth in his capsule, he was looking out the window and he was writing down GPS coordinates and seeing abnormalities. I hope I said that correct, but
You did.
in the ocean floor. So he actually passed all his information and documents and stuff over to Daryl, and Daryl's a huge treasure hunter out in the Caribbean, and he used those coordinates to actually help find shipwrecks. from Gordon's research and documents. So that's the reason it's called Cooper's Treasure. Daryl is probably one of the most passionate people that you can talk to on treasure hunting, on what the type that he does. It's an amazing just to hear him talk, or he does a lot of seminars. I know he's doing some things right now. He might probably talk about that on your show, but I'll let that stay there.
Okay. Yeah, we'll have him on tomorrow night. I'm looking forward to it for sure. So we'll have him on tomorrow night. That's awesome. You guys are featuring him in the next month.
Yes.
Awesome. I can't wait. And that comes out June 1st. Everybody check it out. DirtDigestMagazine.com. Yep, absolutely. Do we have anything else before we wrap up? Anything else you guys want to talk about or get out there? Let the listeners know.
I think I've talked enough for one day.
I think I talk too much. My voice is about getting shot. So, yeah, I'm ready anytime you guys are. If we don't have anything, Gypsy, you going to tune in tomorrow night?
It sounds like I'm going to have to, but I'm going to be at the river, so I'll have to listen on the way back. Driving back home.
Yeah,
and
I probably won't be on that. But yeah, I'll definitely have to listen.
If there's anybody out there, we do have a what we call a treasure room to show viewer finds. If you all want to submit something, you can just go to the website, click on treasure room, and you can submit your finds there, and maybe we can see them in the magazine.
Oh, that's very cool. That is awesome.
And that's on the website?
Yes, that's on the website under treasure room.
Treasure room.
Very cool.
Okay.
Very cool. Yeah, check it out one more time. It's Dirt Digest. Is it DirtDigestMagazine.com?
Yes.
I'm sorry. There for a second I got lost. Yeah, DirtDigestMagazine.com. Check them out. Guys, I appreciate having you on. It's been a lot of fun. Made me laugh, and neat to get to know you guys a little bit since I've been checking out the magazine, and I've got to know Mike. You know, once you start talking metal detecting to Mike, that guy's calling me every day, midnight, 2 a.m, wanting to talk metal detecting. I'm like, man, back off a little bit. You're making my wife jealous and stuff. No, I'm totally kidding. I'm absolutely. Matter of fact, I've bothered Mike more than he's bothered. Hey, what are you doing? Give me a call. So, no, not at all. But it's been fun getting to know you both a little more, and looking forward to next month's June coming up here real shortly. Looking forward to seeing it.
It's going to be great.
Absolutely, I'm sure. Thank you guys so much for coming on.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Good night,
Thank
guys.
y'all.
Good night.
Good night, Gypsy.
Good night.
There you have it. I'm probably in big trouble with Gypsy and Steph both. They text each other a little bit here and there, so they're probably texting each other right now and getting ready to. I'll finish up the show and be in big trouble. Don't forget on Facebook, check out We Dig the Civil War headquarters. Great site. A lot of you don't see posts of pictures and thumbs up. You get some really good conversations going in there. That's from Dorian Cook. Absolutely great. Zero Discrimination on Facebook, and also, of course, on YouTube. Girls Rock Metal Detecting. Facebook group and YouTube, and she writes too. She just posted an article that was pretty cool. I really enjoyed. Ohio Relic Hunting on Facebook, and Dirt Pirates on Facebook. Some of my favorite groups. Good night, everybody, and thank you so much for tuning in.